Go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to the first God Worshipping Society episode of 2026. We hope that, for yourselves as much as ourselves, this is a year of great promise and potential. Why the optimism on our part, you may be wondering? Because we are inspired, and our inspiration is drawn from three sources. Firstly, we draw inspiration from deep within ourselves. Within the innermost portions of my soul lies a kernel, somewhat hidden, but not totally obscured. The profound insight that, in spite of every successive failure which has punctuated the episodes of my life, I will ultimately prevail, and no external fact can overcome this truth, for it is an immaterial truth. No doubt the psychologists of our time would classify such a belief as some kind of manic delusion, but really it is a truth of a higher kind. An immaterial truth, void of substance, perfectly self-containing in its tautologicality, and thereby irrefutable. Secondly, we draw our inspiration from a higher power, knowing that it is only the righteous who will prevail, and the righteous are those who are especially beloved in the heart of the divinity. Since we have already established that we will inevitably prevail, as per the first source of inspiration, it rationally follows that we must be righteous, and therefore that we are beloved in the heart of the divinity. Thirdly, we draw inspiration in a fashion quite distinct from the rather a priori sources of inspiration hitherto outlined from the world around us. A merely cursory glance at the state of the world will suffice to indicate that it is, in fact, an accursed world, scorned by the divinity, populated predominantly by accursed people who are, likewise, scorned by the divinity. This fact, taken in conjunction with the previous two facts, points us to the conclusion that it is the will of the divinity that we, who are beloved in the heart of the divinity and thus will prevail, must be the necessary cause of the transformation of this accursed world into a world which, like our souls, will be beloved in the heart of the divinity. All we need now is to establish precisely why this transformation must necessarily be effected by us in the year 2026. Unfortunately, this part of the theorem is one of my hidden doctrines, which can only be revealed to the initiated, rather than to digital free riders who only take a cursory glance at our great teachings, disdaining to really drown themselves in our wisdom. Furthermore, the elucidation of this deduction would require a significant use of mathematical demonstration, not suited for the format of a podcast. As such, I will leave you with a choice between your continued nihilism, thereby rendering you as one of the demons not beloved in the heart of the divine, or, if you are beloved as we are, a leap of faith in the success of this podcast and the subsequent transformation of the world into a blessed realm free of the aforementioned demons. The choice is yours, but the judgment you will face for having made it is out of your hands. Amen.
Amen. Now we, the pure, begin our sermon.
Yeah, we who are beloved in the heart of the divinity. I think that's... I'm gonna try and change my name legally to have that thrown in some.
To have that as
some
your
kind of title.
You can sign off with that.
You know, like in England historically, if you studied theology and you were a doctor of theology, the word in English was divinity.
Wow.
So you were a doctor of divinity, and your job title would be that you were a divine.
The divine so and so.
Well, no, you would just, that was the name of the job.
Right,
so, like,
okay.
So people would be like, what do you do? And you'd be like, oh, I'm a divine.
I divine.
Yeah, like the verb, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I know about how angels work and stuff.
I divine all sources of information.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
which is a pretty cool name for
Yeah.
a job, I think.
that is pretty cool. That's definitely one of the better things you can be called as well.
Yeah.
We need
I
more
always
cool
feel like
titles
I would've-
that.
I would have thrived in the Middle Ages. I'm not saying that like you know, like every guy is like, oh, I would have done really well in World War One.
You were born in the wrong generation, man.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm really tough. I would have thrived as like, you know, a knight in the Middle Ages. I'm not saying that. I would have thrived as a priest in the Middle Ages.
I think I probably would too. The thing about the toughness, though, is like it's relative to your upbringing, right? Like when you're brought up in a stable home with like, I think you're probably slightly less. One is less tough than someone brought up in pig shit Europe, 1380.
Yeah,
like you're going to be a bit tougher naturally.
I mean, even just going to they didn't even have schools back then, but
Yeah, exactly.
even going to school like 50 years ago, you probably get beaten up by the teachers on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So,
or going to an American school, that's just commonplace. I feel as though British schools are a lot more, like a lot.
We have our schools pussify us. That's definitely true. I think you get like, I feel like we're cultivating a society of snitches because there's no bullying anymore.
Yeah.
And so
why do you think American school? I mean, like, I guess it's only a kind of cultural phenomenon as to how we view American schools. But I don't know about you, but I think they sound like insane. Like all these groups, jocks and nerds. We don't really have that.
I mean, surely they're not like that anymore.
Surely not.
Isn't that like the 50s?
Like a bunch of greasers.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah. I think what it is that they've got a lot of like inner city schools. Which are probably just really rough because they've got really rough cities compared to us.
Maybe it's the mix of like suburb kids and city kids that means they kind of clash. There might not be like gangs of people in the lunch hall like clicking their fingers. Yeah, exactly. but there's probably definitely like I think there's probably a lot more people in their schools as well. So you probably end up with like
huge.
Less authority and more like Lord of the Flies kind of shit.
Everything's on a bigger scale in America, ultimately. Like, if you look at American football, the college games are like big. I think they're like our town games,
aren't they?
Yeah, they're really big. They're huge events.
And people know college stars coming up into the NFL and stuff.
Yeah, they're like minor celebrities. No one here gives a shit about like university rugby teams.
Yeah,
it's not on TV. You can't name any of the players. Same for football. Your comparison with towns is probably like that's probably a valid comparison.
Yeah, like
but even then, it's still so much bigger.
Yeah,
and it's a sport that they only play in that country. It's just so weird.
Yeah, I don't get American football. Baseball as well is particularly dull. Although I suppose we have cricket, which is probably about as slow-paced as baseball.
I feel like cricket's more slow-paced. The difference is that baseball is a really simple game. Like the rules is very easy to understand. Whereas cricket, I don't understand what's going on in cricket. And I had to play cricket when I was a kid.
I was going to say, I played a lot of cricket. I was, in fact, I wanted to do tennis, and they forced me to do cricket because I used to be one of the teams. They were like, no, you have to do cricket.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
Now, I suck at both sports, but I would much rather play tennis than cricket.
As would I. Tennis was far more enjoyable. I was a good bowler, though. That's the only thing I was good at cricket. So I was quite fast, like sprinting fast. So I was quite a fast bowler. I was quite lithe. But fielding was fucking boring, and I couldn't bat to save my life, so...
Yeah, well, fielding was the only part I enjoyed, really, because it was just an opportunity to stand around and talk. Yeah. I would just, like, forget that the game's going on. I'd just be stood in a field, and because we play matches with other schools, so I'd just end up, like... I'd often end up, like, in the wrong part of the pitch, just talking to someone from the other school... Like, oh, do you know so-and-so? Like,
that was the best bit to be, like, right near where everyone was just waiting to bat, and you could just chat with people, and the ball would never get hit over your side.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your favourite sport at school then? Rugby?
Fencing.
Fencing? Wow. We're really showing our... When I say that my favourite sport was shooting at school, I think we're really showing our the kind of schools
I did like shooting. Yeah, I like shooting. But I think my shooting career came to an end when I was about maybe 10 or 11, and the instructor, we had a little shooting range, and I was with my friend. It was just me and my friend, and we were shooting targets with, real rifles with lead rounds.
Yeah, 22s, I assume.
Yeah, little rifles. And she walked out the room, and my friend and I started messing around. And by the time she came back in, we were both pointing loaded rifles at each other's heads.
Yeah.
and she flipped her shit. Yeah.
Yeah, understandably. I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. I was really annoyed when I found out that we couldn't use real handguns.
Well, did you do handgun shooting? We didn't do any handgun shooting.
Yeah, but it was with an air gun.
Oh, yeah.
Which just doesn't feel as cool. You don't have the
still hurts,
recoil. Well, yeah, you still kill someone with a... I've nearly been blinded with an air rifle.
Yeah?
Actually. Yeah, when I was like...
Was this your brothers or something?
Yeah, classic. When I was like 13...
Classic,
I was like, my brother and I were at home in the summer, home alone, and we were just like outside with the air rifle shooting cans. And then we got bored of shooting the cans, so we started finding other things to shoot. And then my brother, who's older than me, he had the wonderful idea of shooting a tennis ball from like 1 yard away, like less than a meter away, and we're both standing. We're both standing in a triangular shape. So if you imagine, one of the points is me, the other point is my brother, and then the third point is the tennis ball. And my brother just point blank just shoots the tennis ball. And I hear the crack of the gun going off. And I suddenly, instantly feel a really sharp pain on my cheekbone right below my eye. And my brother turns around to see that the round had ricocheted off of the tennis ball and then bounced off my cheekbone, which was now severely bruised. And he just starts... I remember his face, his eyes widen, and he just starts going, oh shit, don't tell mum and dad,
That's such a classic brother story, older brother story.
Yeah. And if it had literally been a centimeter higher, I would be blind in my right eye.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, not on the day-to-day basis, but you get a sick eye patch.
Yeah. I have a friend who told me...
Salman Rushdie.
Yeah, it would look very cool.
Yeah.
I have a friend who told me about... He has an uncle who's blind in both eyes. And the reason why is that when his uncle and his dad and his other uncles were kids, they would... This is a really posh family. They would go out to the woods with an air gun, and their game was to tie up this guy, one of the uncles, and then shoot at him with an air rifle from a distance.
Oh my god.
And the result is that he has appalling vision. Both his eyes have been injured.
Oh my god. That's awful.
Yeah. But apparently there was no hard feelings or anything.
No, of course. I'm sure they took it in turns being tied up and shot.
How is that even fun for anyone? It's not even a fight or anything. It's just
that definitely started. That definitely started the same way as your cans, right? They were like, we're bored of this. Grab it.
Yeah.
Time to that fucking
try
tree.
Running at us.
Yeah.
Run at us before you get hit.
Before we shoot you.
Yeah.
Here, it's like you're assaulting our position, and we've got to kill you. Except we've got a gun, and you don't.
Let's play the Battle of the Somme, our favorite game, where you have to march into direct gunfire,
and try not to get hit or actually die.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, the weather's not been very nice here in Berkshire. How's it been in Brizza?
It's just been cold. It's definitely been a lot colder than it was before Christmas.
Yeah.
But no snow. No rain, really. Tiny bit of rain. But yeah, very clear skies. It's cloudy now, and I think we've probably got some rain coming. But it's been pretty, like, mild, really. For the time of the year.
It's been fucking cold here. It's been about -5 overnight. And there's been snow on the ground that has been there for about 3 days now. Which is really cool.
Really?
So I'm very happy, yeah.
That's sick.
My garden is covered in snow. My car was completely snowed over this morning when I went out. Which naturally means I've been reading about the Second World War. So I've been cozied up in bed.
Might I ask?
Well, I've been reading Nemesis by Max Hastings, which I've had for ages and need to get through. But it's a tome about the end of the Pacific War. So we just got through the Philippines, Battle of Leyte, talking about kamikazes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That phase of the war is... I know the Eastern Front was, like, obviously the biggest part of the war, and it was where the war was decided, and the most people died, the most civilians died, and all that. But I do find increasingly that late Pacific era is the most interesting.
Psychologically, it's just so bizarre. The contrast between like the Japanese infantry and the generals and the like when they introduced the kamikaze stuff, everyone was like, yeah, I'll go. And then a couple of weeks later, they were like, hang on. Wait a sec. But apparently they were extremely effective. Like, the first few sorties of kamikazes took out, like, many destroyers and cruisers and stuff. Mm-hmm. He was saying, like, it was the most effective the Japanese Air Force had been in the end of 1944. Was the most effective it had been since the start of 1942 on the Americans. Mm-hmm. And the Americans were finally like, holy shit, they're actually doing something again.
Yeah. I think, like, with the Japanese in World War II, every time they did something, it worked really well at first. But then once, because it was just so insane and shocking and, like, so aggressive. But then once the Americans and the British and everyone had adapted to that new tactic, it quickly lost its
psychological effect.
Yeah, and just became extremely costly for the Japanese.
Yeah, I mean, the old adage is that, you know, the pilots are the expensive bit. It's not the planes at all. Especially the Zeros. They're basically just made of wood. But the pilot, I think they went from... So American pilots in 1944 got something like 300 hours of pre-sortie flight experience, and the Japanese pilots were on about 40, and then after the kamikaze doctrine was introduced, they were on about 20. They basically taught to take off, and that was it.
Damn.
And of all the ones sent from Japan to the Philippines, like, barely a third of them even made the crossing to the Philippines.
That's crazy.
They just get lost or crash. Insane.
Yeah. I remember reading about the training they went through. And, like, I remember reading, like, bits from a manual that they were given before they went on their flight. Like an instruction manual on how to, you know, do a suicide attack, essentially.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, they were trained to scream something when they were crashing, which was, like, it was something really Japanese, like, maximum victory or something.
I remember us talking about this.
Or, like, totally effective attack.
Strike or something. Yeah, like effective strike.
This is the thing about Japan, is, like, we've got all these tropes about Japanese culture from, like, anime and you know, video games and stuff, and it all seems like, oh, that's just anime and video games. And then you read about Japan in World War II, and it's like, oh no, it's just Japanese culture generally. This is just screaming something. Culture. Yeah, they like screaming something whilst they make an attack. Like, that's not just something they do in JRPGs. You know,
they found the idea of dying, like, in that way very romantic as well. There were lots of letters. There was some pilot who'd just got married, and he wrote a letter to his wife saying, "I've finally been given the opportunity to die gloriously." And she found that very sweet.
Part of the state Shinto, like, religion was that if you died in combat fighting for the Empire, then you would transform into, like, a kami, and you would become like a guardian angel of the Empire, basically. And so they thought that the souls, the spirits of all the dead soldiers, were actually looking after Japan and protecting it. So you thought basically you would become a kind of, like, you know, minor level god assisting Japan in its continued fight for world domination.
There's some quote from the Prime Minister at the time talking to Hirohito, and he's like, if we sacrifice 20 million Japanese lives, we will undoubtedly win the war. And Hirohito's like, can't we do something else?
Yeah, it's actually
so
crazy
funny.
how sane Hirohito started to be by the end of the war. That's
was
like, how you
"God,
know how
this is
insane
just
the
over."
generals have gone.
Yeah.
He's like, this isn't going to end. Like, you guys are going to keep saying this to me for years. It's just going to be years of killing my own people.
Yeah, and all the prime ministers were just various admirals and generals that just ended up in that position because the last one had been drummed out for doing something retarded.
Yeah. Wow. I certainly
we do like the Pacific Theatre here at God Worshipping Society.
I certainly do. It's just, do you know what really gets me? There's a video I really like on YouTube of Okinawa, and it's just, the video is just footage from Okinawa with like ambient, it's got like scary ambient background sounds going on. It's a 40-minute video, and it's like footage that was, it's not propaganda footage. It wasn't like stuff that was released to the American public to kind of
just
keep spirits high.
There, yeah.
It's actual documentary footage, so it's like a lot more gory and depressing. But it's like so weird to look at. Because for one thing, by the end of the war, the Americans had really good cameras, I've noticed.
Yeah.
So it's all color footage, which is rare for World War II, of course. It's like really, really good color footage. And the Americans look very futuristic by that point in the war. And then you combine that with the fact that the island itself is such a wasteland, and it starts to look kind of sci-fi. It starts to look like
fighting on the moon or something.
Yeah, especially with the bubbly helmets that the Americans had. They had very kind of round.
Everything was
helmets
quite
back then.
The Shermans as well, with the big rounded canopies and stuff.
Yeah, it's got that real like space age, like mid-century kind of look to it. And then the weapons they're using they're not normal weapons. It's like, they'll fit flamethrowers onto the Shermans and stuff like that. So it doesn't really look even like World War II conventionally. And then there's the fact that you barely see any of the Japanese because they're all in tunnels. And the result is that it doesn't really look like a war or a battle. What it looks like is some kind of alien pest extermination kind of campaign where they're just going around this island, just blasting flames into caves and holes in the ground, and just flushing out the enemy, and who technologically haven't got a chance anyway, and they're also like not behaving like normal humans because they're so brainwashed and they're all insane and they all want to die. And the result is like the most surreal thing. It's just surreal, and I feel like that's what you realize about war. Is that it's not just we view war through so many tropes when we watch war films. If you watch Saving Private Ryan or something, it's basically a cowboys versus Indians kind of film, really. It's like a Western, just moved to the Western front in World War II. But like the reality of war, when you read first-hand accounts of it, is that it's like a surreal, almost out-of-body experience where you are confronted with like the most advanced technology of your time, which you would never encounter normally, being used for the most extreme purposes. This is why Ernst Junger is such a good writer.
Yeah, Storm of Steel is such a good book.
Yeah, because he describes it as like, he doesn't describe it as like a heroic, like struggle, like some kind of Bronze Age Homeric battle where everyone's dueling. Yeah, there's none of that. It's just a really strange, impersonal experience he goes through, where he barely even sees the enemy a lot of the time, and the battle is actually just holding onto the ground whilst a storm of steel is flying around you, and shells are exploding, and shrapnel's whizzing around, and you're actually just hugging to the ground in the middle of a hurricane of spikes that are flying around.
His characterization of it as like a factory of death, with the machine gun operators as factory workers and like crawling insects moving over the battlefield, the tanks like metal bugs. It's such a good like reflection of it. That really just says how important the First World War was for mechanization and industrialization of war.
Yeah, and it would have been so bizarre if you grew up as an agricultural laborer, like a lot of the soldiers did, who relies on donkey carts and horses.
In the 19th century.
Yeah, in like the 1890s. And that went on well into the 20th century. And then all of a sudden you're conscripted, and all of a sudden you're on a wasteland where there's not even any grass growing because it's been so destroyed. And you're just surrounded by machines. Everyone's operating machines. And it's like, it's just industrial warfare, isn't it? It's just, that was the spirit of the time, was machines and factories. Whereas now we're going to have like weird digital warfare where half the war is going to be fought on fucking computers, just hackers.
Well, I mean, at that point, you know, in that context, we're basically already there, like cyber attacks constantly and things like this. You might not know about them because the internet's so diffuse, but it is happening.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that's going to change it all is when robotics comes along to the level where you can have mechanized infantry. I don't mean infantry riding in APCs. I mean literally, robots with two legs.
Android infantry, or gynoid infantry. Get it freaky. But that's
gynoid.
It's if an android is a male, as in android, and a gynoid would be a female-looking robot.
Well, that would be really cool.
That would be very cool. We're getting into Gundam territory at that point.
Yeah, well, we could make them look like Japanese schoolgirls, and then all the wars can just be fought by robotic...
Just proxy wars,
anime schoolgirls.
This is now just becoming a Metal Gear plot. It's pretty. I mean, that is pretty much the plot of like Metal Gear Solid 4.
Is it?
Pretty much, yeah. Just like wars fought by robots in just random countries around the world, just to maintain the military-industrial complex and stuff.
Well, we can put all the robots on like Mars and have the battles there, and then it's like no harm done. You could just absolutely destroy Mars, just using it as like a fighting ground.
Or after Mars is colonized and the Martians get sick of being told what to do by Earthlings, or whatever slur they come up with for people from Earth, then the wars.
They have a revolution.
Yeah, because like time on Mars will be so much different. Like if I was born on Mars, I wouldn't want to listen to the Earth news. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I won't be supporting them because I know that this United States of Mars will probably be getting most of its wealth from an intergalactic slave trade.
Yeah,
I think that's probably going to happen because here's the thing. We've made a terrible mistake in jurisprudence. It's been a linguistic mistake, which is that we've developed this notion of human rights. Mm-hmm. And clearly the people behind this idea of human rights are people who have got their hands down their pockets and they are just waiting for us to come into contact with extraterrestrials so that they can enslave those extraterrestrials and then say, look, guys, it says human rights.
On a technicality, this is fine.
Yeah, and that's why they came up with it. You know, they're just investors, essentially. They were like, oh, well, we can't get any money from the slave trade anymore. We're going to have to abolish all that. But let's call it human rights. And then, when we find men on the moon, or whatever they had in mind at the time, they won't be human, so we can enslave them, and we can have, like, plantations on Mars.
Yeah, I don't envisage humanity as being particularly xenophilic once we get into if we meet other aliens. We would if they meet us. If aliens come here, we probably won't have a choice. I mean, if an alien can find its way to this planet, they would be able to just like obliterate the planet.
Yeah. Well, I think what would happen is they'd come here and then they'd have to leave pretty quickly because they'd realize that like a good portion of the people on this planet want to fuck them. I was
just about to say that. Yeah.
That's going to be a big issue. That's going to be a massive issue. Yeah. Because, okay, let's think about this philosophically. It's not a human. It's a different animal.
Yeah.
Is it bestiality? It's a sentient animal. It's as intelligent. It's actually more intelligent than humans. Maybe that affects it. If they're hyper intelligent,
the balance of power might be off. Maybe that would be kind of
We'd be the victims.
We'd be the victims, yeah.
We'd be getting seduced by them.
We've been seduced by their great intellect. Oh no.
And that's why we need to kick them out.
Yeah.
This is the kind of arguments that we're going to be having politically in 100 years' time.
We might as well start now because, you know, we need to be forward thinkers. Like, how many people have thought about this? And the biggest problem is, it's fucking George Lucas, right? Because he made all those sexy damn aliens in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now, this is what people want.
Like
sexy
the one,
aliens.
The green
Same
one
as
who
Star Trek.
Jabba the Hutt throws into the cell with the monster.
The Rancor pit.
Yeah.
The Twi'leks.
Where are they?
The big ear things.
Yeah, it's not hair. They're like...
No, they're like tubes. They're whatever
now
the
imagine
fuck
what you could
George
do with
Lucas.
that.
George Lucas was like, we need some sexy women, but make them aliens. And they're like,
Do you think
okay, how do we do that?
Do you think he fantasizes about this stuff when he's coming up with it? Because I'm confident that George R.R. Martin does that.
Yeah. There's not
'Cause
many
that
other
stuff is so
races
horny.
in Game of Thrones, though, really. It's
No,
not
but like he
Lord of the Rings
fantasizes
or
about
something.
all the shit he's writing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Tolkien obviously
you have
didn't
to
have any
No.
sexuality.
No, the Lord of the Rings is particularly asexual, but there's no like dwarves or I guess there's no elves or something in Game of Thrones.
No, do they
Thank
not have
God.
any of that stuff? I've never watched it. What do they have?
No.
Humans and dragons.
Basically, it's just very low fantasy. They're just humans of different races. There's like the sort of semi-Moorish / Mongol hordes, and then like the white people and slightly less white people. There's the Spanish.
Yeah, like Mexicans.
Yeah, there's like Spanish people, very white people, and then like other white people.
So it's basically just Europe.
It is
basically
literally no. It's even more reductive. It's basically just Britain. It's basically just Britain with South France tacked onto the bottom of it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like the George R.R. Martin guy though. I don't like his vibe.
No,
you know?
What's his vibe?
I don't know. I don't like how overweight he is, and
Right.
I don't like that a man who looks like that is writing that kind of smut.
Yeah, it is definitely quite smutty, but I think it fits the vibe. I do like the kind of low fantasy of Game of Thrones because I like The Witcher as well, which is a bit higher fantasy, but it feels just like medieval fantasy basically. It's not smutty in that way. It's smutty in the kind of, if you went to medieval Europe, there's probably people doing weird shit. You know?
I mean, yeah, I will preface this by saying that the only Game of Thrones I've seen is all the sex scenes. I haven't seen anything else. So
that probably doesn't contextualize it very well.
Yeah, which also kind of devalues my criticism that George R.R. Martin is too smutty.
There is a lot of sex in it, but you know, there's probably a lot of sex at the time. You know, all the people saying it's too smutty.
Does anyone fuck the dragons in it?
No, sadly not. There's no dragon fucking. Not to my knowledge.
There are a lot of novels that are popular with the ladies these days, which involve people having sex with dragons.
I know the Sarah J. Maas novels that have a lot of shagging in them. Those are just smart. Like Court of Thorns and Roses.
Is that the one where they're at like a training academy?
I could not tell you. I think the only stuff I know about them is
like
when
they
go on.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just saying. I remember my housemate reading me some of one of her books in that series, and it was like really dirty.
It's just porn. Yeah,
it was just smart at that point. I was like, you know,
it's just that essentially women goon as much as men. This is
in a different way.
Everyone's complaining about porn and gooning, and it's like, well, the women are gooning just as much as the men. They're just gooning to different stuff.
Yeah,
you know? And arguably worse stuff, because it's just like books about women fucking minotaurs and stuff like that.
Well, people just fucking anything.
And a minotaur can't even talk. That's not even a sentient animal, because it's got the head and ergo the brain of a bull. So that really is bestiality.
Yeah, at least a centaur has a human body. A human mind.
it's really objectifying men, because what you're saying is, I want a man who is as stupid as a bull, and I don't want them to have any subjectivity. I want to literally just make them a dumb animal that's only good for fucking. So if I switch the head, I give it a bull's head. Oh, it's got an IQ of like 5 now, but it's still got the body of a man. It's still got
a massive wang.
Yeah, exactly.
This is perfect.
And I resent that. And I think that porn is objectifying men.
Yeah. I remember when I was younger. I remember when I was younger reading something about how like the it's not violence in video games or anything like that as like a prescient for committing violent actions, right? It's violent writing. Mm-hmm. So if you write a lot of stuff that's really violent, that is the biggest indicator you're going to commit a violent act. So really? What about, I wonder if that still carries true with like weird sex shit. Because then porn is actually probably less indicative of committing some, I don't know, sexual perversion, let's say. And maybe reading about it is a sign that you're a real pervert.
Well, probably, because
it stimulates the imagination more. You have to conjure up these things.
And it's like, you're not just thinking about it in a moment of extreme horniness, because you can't really like read and jack off at the same time. I mean, maybe you can.
It's like a passive.
Yeah, you have to really like think about it, imagine it. It's
like a lot of your whole. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's the difference though. When men want to jack off, what they'll do is they'll be like, all right, 5 minutes, let's just get this out of the way, and then I can concentrate on whatever I actually need to concentrate on.
I have something to do, let's just get this out of the way.
Whereas with women, I don't actually know how women jack off, but I'm going to assume what they do is they have a nice bath, they have like a long bath, they have petals in the bath, then they put on a nice dressing gown, light candles, pull out the vibrator, dim the lights. They get a whole setup going on just to jack, and then they spend an off, and then do you know what they do?
No. They read. Yeah, they read for a long time and then jack off.
Yeah. And
this is all generalizations, folks, but we think it's completely true.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask a woman how she jacks off, all right?
No, because that's just rude. It's like asking about their age.
Yeah, I'm just going to blindly assume about it instead. And,
and then get corrected when someone decides to tell me about it.
But
even then, that's just one woo mansplained. That's just anecdotal evidence. If you don't do this, that's just purely anecdotal evidence, and I'm gonna refute that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate anecdotes, man. I whenever I'm arguing with someone and they say anything, I just say it's anecdotal. They'll be like, I've got a statistical study that proves this. I'll be like, well, each of those statistical occurrences is anecdotal, so fuck you. I don't do evidence. I do pure reason. That's my way of thinking.
There's no empiricism.
No, fuck that. We're all reinen Vernunft here. That's what we're going off of. Yeah.
Should we talk about some news? We spent
sure.
40 minutes talking about some right old shite.
I feel like it's better than when we talk
This probably is going to be way more entertaining than the news.
Once again, we got stuck on dragons. That's like becoming a recurring thing.
Yeah, well,
dragons.
It fits the kind of Chinese vibe that we do not give off at all.
Yeah.
Except for making fun of the Japanese. That's probably the most Chinese we've got this episode.
Yeah, we hate those guys as well.
Speaking of which, there was a bit in that book. There's I'm reading the chapter on China, like how it ends up. Because they had 1 million men in China, and they were talking to Hirohito, and he was like, can we not go and stop the Americans? And the guy was like, well, China's a big place. We didn't expect China to be so big. And Hirohito was like, yeah, the Pacific Ocean's big too, dude. But there's a quote about the occupation, and some Japanese ex-soldier was being interviewed in like the early 2000s or something, really old, like 105 or something he was. And he was like, everyone says how awful our occupation was, but they didn't think about what it was like for us. you'd have to go and do your daily inspection of some nearby town, and there were hundreds of people there who could kill you. It's like people didn't realise how awful it was for us occupying it. It's like, okay, dude.
Colonizing China. People do forget though, like in the Pacific Theater, we all think about the Americans fighting the Japanese and how costly that was for the Japanese. But like you say, like the majority of their forces were in mainland China, fighting an endless guerrilla war.
China lost the second most number of people. It was something like 25 million people.
By a huge margin. If you look at the charts, it's like Soviet Union and China.
China, everyone else.
Yeah, like Germany is
Germany
third,
next is like, probably about half of what the Germans and Soviets lost. I mean, the Chinese.
Japanese, Oh, Chinese, I mean, yeah. So, shout-outs to China for made a big contribution in that war, which we're literally not taught about growing up.
Well, in China, the Second World War began in 1931.
Exactly. That's a long-ass war.
It is. 16 years, basically.
So,
15 years.
English education system, maybe you should try incorporating some Xi Jinping thought into the curriculum.
Yeah.
Because, it's a big country. I was looking at videos of China recently, and it's fucking crazy. Some of the stuff there. And, like, they have so many, like, fireworks displays, drone displays, like, crazy bridges, buildings that are like on like hanging off of the edges of mountains that are like held in place. And I'm sure the reason why they have so much of that shit, part of the reason, other than massive infrastructure spending, is that they also have probably abysmal regulations for health and safety.
Undoubtedly.
So that probably helps them a lot with that. But like,
it's probably both of those things combined. We have lots of money to spend on infrastructure, and we don't care how you do it.
Yeah. They're just terrified of unemployment, I guess. So they spend a shit ton. But like,
and just looking at the housing crisis over there, I swear.
Yeah. Well, the things they're most scared of are unemployment and homelessness. Because like the main thing, one thing you have to appreciate about the current leadership of China is that they all grew up in not all of them, but most of the leaders, they grew up during the Cultural Revolution.
Yeah.
Which was a period of extreme carnage in China and civil unrest. So they're all terrified of that happening. Xi Jinping was like basically exiled as a young man during the Cultural Revolution with his father, who was like he was a member of the party, but they got like booted out and sent off to the countryside to be peasants during the Cultural Revolution. So imagine that. Every time Xi Jinping has to give a speech, like underneath a portrait of Mao Zedong, he's like looking at a picture of the man. The man who basically exiled his family and forced him to live in a cave when he was young.
That's got to be it's got to be pretty hard.
That's crazy.
China's got to have some of the most diverse, like geographic. Got to have one of the most diverse geographies of any country. Like deserts, mountains, marshlands, everything.
Everything. Yeah, huge rivers. Huge river. Do you know a country I was reading about geography like yesterday actually was Iran.
Mm-hmm.
You ever look? That is a country with very diverse geography, like extremely diverse. They got like, I think they've got the hottest part of Asia. Maybe it was something like there's a part of Iran where the highest temperature recorded was in I think 2005, and it was like 70 degrees Celsius.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like some plain somewhere. But then they've also got mountains with snow on top of. They've got forests, like really big forests. Like when you get towards Afghanistan, it's really mountainous. Like everything. And in my head, I always visualize, probably because I grew up during the George Bush era, like whenever I think of anywhere in the Middle East, I just visualize a flat desert.
A desert with oil derricks in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's my idea of like Iran.
It's just burning.
It's not even true. There's like really luscious areas with loads of flora and fauna, like huge mountain ranges, and then
cradle of civilization.
Yeah, and like, so it's basically it's actually a country where there's large uninhabitable areas, and you know the people live either in like flatlands between mountains that they're either like steppes or I don't know, like big valleys. but they're all separated by these huge mountain ranges and dense forests and stuff. And it's like, I did not know Iran looked like that. It actually looks really beautiful.
There's been a lot of protests and things in Iran, I think.
Have there? About what?
There always are, to be honest. Well, it's just because they're...
their government.
Yeah. No mercy in Tehran as protesters are put in their place. Women beaten, rubber bullets fired, teenagers loaded in cages.
I feel like it's normally about women issues in Iran.
Yeah. I think Iran really is kind of struggling with that. The government just trying to keep hold of their cultural revolution.
Iran's struggling with women, eh?
Who?
Tell me about it, buddy.
Tell me about it. I know just how you feel. So Donald Trump and Venezuela. Should we gloss over some of these points?
Yeah. Oh, well, look at this. Don't play games. White House gives Maduro the meme treatment. Thank you, Sky News.
Thanks, Sky News.
Rap music, a 1960s anti-war anthem, and memes have set the tone for the Trump administration's justification for seizing the Venezuelan leader.
So what is their justification?
I mean, a damn commie or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, as far as I mean, for me, it's basically just they need to maintain their power projection, right? Mm-hmm. And they don't want to go back into the Middle East. And they say, I think they say that Maduro is the one that's funding all it's war on drugs shit. Right? Maduro himself has been trafficking drugs into the US, I think, is basically what they've said.
Yeah. Well, everyone's saying it's about oil.
Yeah, right? Probably. Well, it's America.
They're a socialist country that I think was withdrawing from selling oil to America. And then, supposedly, I don't know how true this is, according to a Reddit comment I read last night, whilst not sober, there were two oil bosses who had a meeting with Trump and I guess were like, you need to put the squeeze on this guy. And he was like, we'll see what we can do for you. And then
they bombed.
That was why it happened.
They bombed him.
However, my friend who lives in South America is saying China, not oil.
China, not oil.
Yeah, yes, Venezuelans know Trump doesn't care about them. And no, they don't care. After 26 years under a dictatorship, of course they are cynical. They don't care. 90% of Venezuelans support this. Not just support. This is the best day of their entire lives. China, Russia, Iran, and Cuba were already stealing Venezuelan oil. That's how Maduro stayed in power for so long. So according to my friend, the oil was going to China and other anti-American powers. There's a reason Cuban special forces were used as bodyguards by Maduro and not Venezuelans. He could never be sure if he was personally responsible for the death of any given Venezuelan's relative.
Right, okay. I see.
My friend doesn't speak much English these days. Yeah,
I understand what he's trying to say, though.
Yeah. Okay, now he's just talking about himself. I won't get into that.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can get some more correspondence from our Venezuelan correspondent.
He has sent me so many messages. Look at this. Oh, you can't see.
Jesus, that is a lot of messages. 3 of them were just him correcting how he spelt the word speak. Jesus Christ.
The problem is I don't know how to respond now because there's so many messages.
Yeah, you have to go piecemeal.
Well, the funny thing is, me and my friend, we do this to each other. I will send him like essays over WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And then the response. This is our conversation basically. The response will be a ton of messages from him about something completely different from what I was talking about. So it's basically a WhatsApp chat we've had for years where we've both just been kind of talking over each other.
Having your own conversations with yourselves.
Yeah, it's just like a notepad for our insane thoughts.
There's a few friends I have where you have to talk like that too, though, because you never know when you're going to get a reply. So you just have to send them a block of information, and if they reply to it, then good, and if not, then fine.
You just have to trust that they read it and be like, okay, they listened, and that's all I need is someone to listen, someone to make me feel like I'm understood.
Yeah.
But
so
there you go, folks. That's our analysis. It's not oil, it's China. So essentially,
it is oil, but it's China getting the oil.
It's China getting the oil.
It's not drugs, it's oil.
Yeah. And it's definitely not Jeff Epstein and all that stuff.
What's happening with Jeff these days, other than being dead?
Oh, well, there's just... People are just sifting through the files and finding more and more stuff. The big story that happened is that someone gave a tip to, I think, the FBI in, 2001. It was sometime around then. Basically saying that they knew a young woman... I think it might have been like a stepsister or sister-in-law or something like that. I can't really remember. But they knew a young woman who I think was underage, and she got used, shall we say, by Trump and others alongside, as part of Epstein's whole kind of business. And then she got killed, and Trump was present when she was murdered.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and so that is in the files.
That's insane.
And the guy who made that tip, which was a long time ago, I think the tip was actually made, has publicly spoken about it on social media with the release of the files, given that tip is in the files. And there are actually... news reports from back then talking about this young woman mysteriously dying. So she is real, and she did die at the time.
Right. But it's whether he had anything to do with it.
Yeah, this guy's saying that Trump was there when she got murdered and was actually, party to the murder. Now,
that's some Sopranos shit.
Yeah, it really... Yeah, it is some actual Tony Soprano.
She got whacked.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
You'd think Donnie wouldn't want to be there when someone gets whacked. Doesn't that kind of... That seems like we got a little problem we got to take care of.
Yeah.
I want her gone. I want to get rid of her. I want to be there.
She's gonna squeal. I don't like squeals. She's gonna squeal
to the cops. We gotta get rid of her. And I'm gonna be there. Make sure she's gone.
To be fair, the way Trump talks is basically like how every man in a black and white film kind of talks. You know, men back then had that. It's like Marlon Brando.
Dude, in my head, I just imagine him not saying anything and someone with just a card, like a silent film.
Trump in The Birth of a Nation.
He just mimes something and someone walks up with a card behind him that's got what he said on it.
So doing the gestures.
Yeah.
No, not that old. I'm not talking about German expressionist cinema, but that kind of film noir style. Hey, listen,
Toots.
Tough guy. Hey, Toots. Yeah, that kind of.
She walked into my room and lit a cigar. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it just shows how fucking old he is. And he is really old now.
He is. He's getting on for 80, right?
That must feel horrible. I imagine waking up with that much
79.
fucking responsibility, and you're 79.
Yeah,
and he wants to run again, I'm pretty sure. I think he would like to run again. I don't know.
I'm not sure if he can anymore, can he? Or is he's going to try?
Legally, he can't. Legally, he can't. Here's the deal. Every president, apart from FDR, only did 2 terms max.
Yeah.
And originally that was just a precedent which Washington set, because he did 2 terms and then he could have gone on, but he stood down and said, I don't think it's right for me to run again. And so then that became a precedent. And the precedent stayed until FDR, and he got elected. I don't think Lincoln did more than... Yeah, I think it's just FDR. FDR did 4 terms, although he died during his 4th term, not long into it. But
those are kind of special war circumstances, though, weren't they?
Yeah, I think...
Emergency
he did
wartime powers.
Because I think he was in his second term when the war... Yeah, I think he was in his second term when the war started, at least.
That's probably a good idea. You kind of want a consistent leadership.
Yeah, and if you're going to have anyone for that many terms, FDR's a pretty good choice. Pretty fucking good president. So, but then I think they made
Neville Chamberlain.
Yeah. But then I think they made it illegal for a president to stay on for longer than 2 terms after that. Okay. I think they passed some kind of law. So legally Trump can't, but But
he'll get JD to run, and Donnie will be VP, and then he'll
do like a Putin kind of thing. Yeah, it's like, or
he'll have Vance abdicate.
Yeah, because in Russia they got a president and a prime minister, and the way Putin would do it is he'd run as president and max out his terms on that, and then switch to prime minister, have another guy as president. It's one way to do it. And Trump does seem to want to kind of be like Putin, so
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he'll probably. I assume running as someone's VP and then having them step down. That's probably a perfectly valid way to do it. No, I mean, I don't know why I'm asking. This is some ridiculously complex U.S. law.
I feel like we should we should definitely have Erica Kirk as the next president. I feel like
I'd vote for Erica Kirk.
I'd vote for Erica Kirk. That would be cool.
Erica
Kirk.
Erica Kirk.
Yeah. But we don't have any limits on how long you can be prime minister up in the UK.
No, we don't have any limits how long you can do podcast episodes for. So
absolutely.
Don't expect us to be abdicating anytime soon, guys. However much you may want us to go, we're here for the foreseeable.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I don't think we do.
Clogging up the internet.
But I mean, it's different over here, isn't it? Because you're not really voting for the person, you're voting for the party.
Yeah.
And they have to be re-elected every 5 years anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny. One funny thing is
drooling idiot.
Yeah, one funny thing about every political party in the UK is how they flip-flop about proportional representation. Because the idea of switching to proportional representation is pretty popular with the public. And a lot of politicians have advocated for it. For example, Sir Keir Starmer was very pro-proportional representation. Yeah, he was very pro-proportional representation. And then the moment he got elected, he just stopped talking about it.
Yeah. I think this is the way with everything. This is just the populist way, isn't it?
Yeah, well, if you got rid of first past the post, I think one thing is that Labour and the Tories would basically become much smaller parties, if not collapse entirely. It's a system that maintains a two-party system, essentially. Yeah. And he was just saying it's like when David Cameron was, said, if you vote for me, I'll do a Brexit referendum, even though he didn't like Brexit. It's something to get voted. Nigel Farage has always been very pro-proportional representation, and that's obviously because he's been the leader of minor parties,
of a small party,
which cannot get anywhere in a two-party system unless it somehow is able to become the second party, which maybe that's what we're heading towards.
I think so.
Probably because a lot of Tories are abandoning the Tory party now and shifting to Reform. So. Yeah.
Although 12-year-olds now will be able to vote in the next general election. 12-year-olds now will be able to vote by the time of the next general election.
That is crazy.
That is pretty whack.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got to start indoctrinating
16 as a voting age is pretty... Yeah. There is a bit of a thing about, come on, you're 16.
Well, you're going to see me hanging around outside schools handing out business cards with God-worshipping society. Why would that help?
I don't know, to get them on our side.
We got to boost the vaping lobby. This podcast is sponsored by Big Vape.
I don't know, I was just trying to think. I was like, you can't really hand out
society.
Sweets.
Brought to you by Elf Bar. Yeah. No, I'm also not a paedophile, so I'm not going to be.
That's what I meant. If you want to get kids on your side to vote, you can't hand out sweets because you look like a pedo. I was like, well, what's the next thing that kids want?
Business cards.
Disposable cigarettes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, you know that Sigma male film, American Psycho? You know the bit where they give out the business cards, and the kids will be like, "Yeah, that's so cool," and I'll be like, "I love that bit." Guess what? I'm a Sigma male, and then I give them my my God-worshipping society business cards, indoctrinate them. Boom. Few years time, next general election. Guess who's running? Mr. Applefeather himself.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, no, just the podcast is running.
Yeah, the whole podcast.
Well, it's
like the Wizard of Oz.
Podcast. Now it's a political party.
Yeah. And we're both the leader of the party simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's Wizard of Oz shit.
Consoles.
Yeah. We're behind a screen and there's just a big talking head.
Called God Worshipping Society.
Yeah.
The machine. No, it's going to be our LLM that we develop. We're going to put our Python skills to good use and create an LLM.
Trained off our episodes to run the country.
Yeah. And like we just put it in the House of Commons and PMQs. People are just talking to the brazen head.
Great head.
It's like the brazen head. You know the brazen head of what's his name, Roger Bacon, the medieval scientist who had a head that could talk, supposedly, and it would tell you secrets to reality. I like how that is just an LLM.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just AI. Yeah, it's just medieval AI, but it's a head made out of copper or whatever.
It's our mechanical Turk.
Yeah,
but we're like, pulling the strings in the background.
It's like the computer in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Deep Thought.
Deep Thought, yeah.
You know? Yeah, that's going to be off. And we're all going to dress like ancient Greeks, and the computer will be in the shape of a big triangle that glows. Yeah. And, and we'll go into the temple, which is like a nice Grecian building, and we'll go to the triangle and we'll give it prompts and it will tell us what to do.
And this is all happening in Westminster, is it?
No, the capital will be moved to Bristol because Britain will be dissolved and replaced with the Commonwealth of Wessex, and our titles will be Lord Protectors.
We'll have to move the capital close to our enemies, the independent Cornish. So we need to relocate the capital close to the enemy.
We will decide that actually the biggest problem wasn't the immigrants, it was the Cornish.
The Cornish.
And we will genocide the Cornish. We'll put camps up. We'll set up Laogai. We'll get a nice Maoist influence going on. We'll set up work camps called Laogai for the Cornish.
Yeah.
They'll have to eat just rice and nothing else, and then farm rice. We're going to pivot to an agrarian rice farming economy.
At least we'll produce something rice again. Oh, fucking hell.
Just laugh as Chinese people.
Vote for us, guys. We'll be there in a couple of years.
God worshipping society. Yeah, this is why we need your subscriptions.
We will truly be the head of state.
Not only will your subscriptions prevent the otherwise inevitable death of your mother in her sleep tonight, it will also assist us in forming the political party, which will put our triangle god-like LLM in power with us as the Lord's protectors, and will also enable the liquidation of the Cornish population
of all Cornish assets. They will be liquidated. Well, that's Happy New Year.
Yeah. So what we done with an hour and
2 minutes and 35 seconds.
Well, that's not too bad
that's
for a completely unscripted episode.
No. This is completely scripted. Actually. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
They can't peek behind the curtain.
No. They can't see that this was scripted entirely by Google Gemini.
As the Spotify auto-generated podcast chapters will reveal.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, we didn't check. Didn't we say at the end of last one to see what the podcast chapters would be? We tried to see if we could get them to...
I haven't even looked. It wasn't that long ago, so...
Our podcast is a political tool amidst AIs... Oh, I can't even read the full fucking chapters. Spotify, you're shit.
Hold up. I got it. Reflecting on our podcast's birth and future aspirations. From metaphors to Christmas arguments, setting the stage.
Yeah.
Unpacking the crimes of lost prophets is Ian Watkins.
That makes us sound way more professional than we actually were.
Yeah, it's like a true crime show or something.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones, cheating, and Marianne Faithfull's story.
Did it spell her name
Boys... right? No, it missed the last L.
Oh no.
Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, and the Afterlife debate. This one.
I just saw that, yeah.
From French icon to racist, the Brigitte Bardot story. Should make a biopic called that.
from French icon to racist.
Holy shit, that's good.
Examining
that's the
Pope
best one so far.
Francis. Examining Pope Francis and the papacy's shifting landscape. I like how kind of corporate they all sound.
Yeah, that again. I remember that being like 3 minutes of me just looking at the Wikipedia, and that was it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Ozzy Osbourne's struggle and David Lynch's cinematic genius.
Yeah, that's
From
a good
Hollywood
chapter.
tragedy to political memes. Rob Reiner and Charlie Kirk. Andrew Tate and Jake Paul's boxing losses and brand impact. Sounds like
What?
we're in a marketing meeting.
Well, yeah, that sounds like some right marketing bullshit.
Our podcast as a political tool amidst AI's unstoppable advance. And finally, channeling the Zoomer Geist, Zoomer spelt completely wrong, GWS's vision for 2026.
The whole time
Well-
I was trying to figure out what it meant by Zoomer.
Yeah, it
And
sounds
now-
like some kind of tribe in Australasia or something.
Yeah, it's spelt as ZUMA, yeah, like some African tribe. There are
Yeah.
also 3
Well, it's-
speakers if you look at the transcript.
I know, it always does that. So one of us is constantly shifting.
Oh, I think it's probably the monologue it thinks is someone else.
Oh, yeah, that makes
The
sense.
monologue is all
I
speaker
do-
1.
I do pitch shift my voice up a little bit for the monologue to give it that kind of...
And obviously when we have a
celestial
special guest come in to give the monologue, they are a completely different person.
It is just a different person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, thanks for joining us, guys. We hope
you.
you're feeling good about 2026. As I said before, we absolutely are. We've got big plans, as you've been hearing. A lot of plotting going on here. We've got maps
Scheming.
all over our houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, photos of people posted up on a cork board.
With ties between them. Small figures on the maps that we push around like great generals, scheming the undoing
Yeah,
of our
regiments.
battalions. Yeah.
Yeah, but in a kind of like downfall, like Führerbunker kind of way. Like the
Yeah.
armies don't really exist, and we're
Yeah,
kind of in
we're just
denial
pushing
about
them
it, and we're just like
around.
raving, we're just completely losing our minds.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's going well.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't really have much else to say, really. Thank you for joining us. Do
Like
you have
and
any last words,
subscribe.
Felix?
No, here's the 2026, I guess. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. As always, give us a subscribe, drop a comment, a like, anything to stop your mother from dying tonight. We
Which
don't
will be
want her to die.
inevitable unless you interact
Yeah.
with us.
We regret making this curse when we started the show. We didn't know they actually worked, but since the show started, we have had emails flooding in telling us about how their mothers have died. And,
Luckily, this episode is sponsored actually by the Berkshire Funeral Company. So, who have received an awful lot more patronage in the last couple of weeks. So,
who also feel terrible about this matricidal onslaught that we have, ironically initiated. And
but
is
they
now
did
well
say
on the way.
it's good for business. So, cheers to that.
So, please, guys, grow the movement, and in doing so, save thousands of mothers from otherwise unnecessary deaths. Because we don't want it to happen. But if we stop making the podcast, then we stop getting the message out there that you need to subscribe, and we want to stop them from dying. So
Yeah, this
please,
is true. This is true.
think of the mothers.
Amen.
Amen.